of late in the last, I would say last decade, when we have moved into the asset light companies, where the companies are now looking, brand has become a very, very important item in the valuation. And while it doesn't find its way into the balance sheet and the books of accounts, because it still doesn't find an accounting parlance, and one is wondering that one day it will find its way, I'm sure, because it's a very important asset which is there and which only gets valued when you sell it, or when you're buying a brand, or you're selling a brand, or selling a company for that matter. But internal creation of brands is not actually brought onto balance sheets. And I think that's something that would need to be looked at for the accounting profession to keep pace with what's happening. Because all these satellite companies, if you see their brand is what actually? Brand is something which is basically defines the soul and the purpose of the company. And I would go even one step further and saying the higher purpose of the company, because that's what it stands for. It stands for trust. It stands for ethics. And it's very important because as it works in your pricing strategy. It helps in every which way you look at it. So companies which are and also we should not confuse between selling, the selling as well as in brand, because the sales that take place are for the current period. The brand defines future cash flows, how you will be able to go through. And I think this pandemic period has also brought out one very important point, is that how during this period, the brands which were strong actually stood out and were able to ride the wave better than the other ones. So I think the strength of a brand got defined there. Now, as far as boards are concerned, see, the board, like you rightly defined, is there for the governance and for creating value and ensuring that the value is preserved of a company. And they need to ensure that it's found its way to the top table. Let's not be this thing. It's found its way in certain forward-looking companies. Companies give guidance on the brand valuation, talking of Infosys giving. So similarly, very other forward-looking companies are putting out the brand valuation. And if you see any of the top, today, if you take the top 10 listed companies on the NASDAQ, I mean, most of them are asset light companies except for one or two. So 8 of them would be there. And all their valuation which is coming from the brand, basically. I remember when these companies come in and you look at their cost price versus their difference in the price in which they sell it, that defines where the brand is and how the brand can actually sell. So I think brand is a very important item. It is for the board to actually take seriousness of it. But just coming to your point, do all boards do it? I'm not sure. I think this needs to find its place as part of the main strategy of companies, where not only when your P&L is discussed, are you also discussing your brand? Because there could be various brand damaging events that can take place, which can actually damage your brand, and how a company is actually going to deal with it in those kind of circumstances, and what one needs to do to either enhance the brand or actually protect the brand from there. So it needs to find a much more important place in more companies than what it's being done today to be able to get its true value.